Yehudiya Fatei Mizrach Adima Ayin Letzion Sophia Odelov Dati Kvatenu Atikva V'chnot Alpayim Liot HaMechavshi Be'aretzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim Liot HaMechavshi Be'aretzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I was asked to say a word or two about Yom Yerushalayim. It's hard to speak about Yom Yerushalayim to a room of people that lived through Yom Yerushalayim. And I wasn't even born yet. So what Yom Yerushalayim means to me is a thought that my father has shared with me numerous times. My father's mother, she should have a refuah shalema, is a Holocaust survivor. Having lost 5 siblings in the Holocaust, having had her whole family exterminated and killed, and as the only survivor from a large family, you could imagine, as my father says, my father's childhood, he doesn't remember many instances where my grandmother was happy and smiling. And my father has told me that one of the only times he remembers my grandmother with tears of joy and visibly very happy and excited was on the day that we got the Kotel back, Yom Yerushalayim. Say a parak of Tehillim. Shir HaMalos u'David, Samachti b'omrim li beis Adonai nelech, Omdos hayu ragleinu b'sharayich Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim ha-benuya ki-ir shechubra v'yachtav. Shesham alu shvatim shivteya edosu Yisrael l'odosu Shem Adonai. Ki shama yashvu chisosu mishpat kisosu veis David. Shalu shalom Yerushalayim yishvayu ha'avayich. Yi shalom b'chelech shalva b'amernusayich. V'man achai v'rayaya dabrana shalom bach. V'man beis Anoheinu avaksha tovach.
Just to point out, as a little trivial fact, since today is Yom Yerushalayim, out this window is the Queen's Museum. In 1948, the UN ratified the State of Israel in that building, so I think it's kind of appropriate we have that view today. On behalf of the dinner committee, I would like to welcome you to our 65th annual dinner. This year we honor a wonderful group of people. Our guests of honor, Marilyn and YIKGH Schwartz, have worked have worked tirelessly for our shul for many years and have set an excellent example for their family and us of the importance of making the shul a priority in their lives. Our beloved Rebbitzin Ruth Schoenfeld exemplifies a true Eishes Chayil. Her warmth, kindness, and compassion is felt by all of us. She and Rabbi Fabian Schoenfeld continue to be an inspiration for us all. Moshe and Karen Birnbaum, our Young Leadership Awardees, are always ready to help out, whether it's in the Young Marrieds Minyan, Women's League projects, or keeping the computers up and running. It's done with a smile. Mr. Rueda is so deserving of the Lifetime Achievement Award. He's kept the Young Israel shipshape for over 45 years. We thank him for all he does, and we wish him a speedy recovery. Our Joseph and Stella Zimmerlover Community Service Awardee, Margaret Tietz Rehabilitation Center, has served our community for many years. We're grateful that you are there for those in need. I wish all of our honorees Mazel Tov and hope they continue all the wonderful things they do for our shul and community with good health for many years to come. I have to thank the dinner committee, David Englander, Avi Goldman, Morty Goldstein, Ellie Siegel, and our president, David Reich. I'd also like to thank David Engelman for singing Hatikva and the Star Spangled Banner. Without all of your hard work, this dinner would not have been possible. Susan Goldstein has once again done an outstanding job with the Journal. Thank you for taking this on such short notice. Rabbi Yoel Schoenfeld, thank you for your guidance and support. And finally, I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us this evening and supporting our Young Israel. I would now like to call upon David Reich, our president.
B'Shus Rabbi Yoel Schoenfeld, Rabbi Fabian Schoenfeld. I would like to welcome all our guests tonight who have come to celebrate the Young Israel of Kew Gardens Hill's 65th anniversary dinner. I would like to wish a mazel tov to our guests of honor, YIKGH and Marilyn Schwartz, to our Eishes Chayil awardee, Rebbitzin Ruth Schoenfeld, to our Young Leadership awardees, Karen and Moshe Birnbaum, and our Zimmerlover Community Service awardee, the Margaret Tietz Rehabilitation Center. Also, our Lifetime Achievement awardee to Mr. Otaniel Rueda. It seems like every year we have the same problem. Nobody wants to be honored at the shul dinner. Most people who volunteer their time, money, and effort on behalf of our shul and our community do so because they love our shul. They work tirelessly for our shul without expecting or wanting anything in return. While those people are greatly appreciated and should be admired, it takes an extra special person to step outside their comfort zone to be acknowledged and thanked publicly for all the good work that they do. All of our honorees tonight fit into that category of people. I hope that for next year's dinner, the very deserving people who will be asked to be honored will accept without hesitation. Last year, we celebrated our Holocaust survivors' 70 years of life after the Shoah. It was a very emotional and moving celebration. Unfortunately, not all of them could be back with us this year. This year, however, we have decided to have a lighter theme for the dinner, and I hope you will enjoy this special entertainment that we have lined up. I would like to thank our dinner chairperson, Debbie Weintraub, the rest of the dinner committee, David Englander, Avi Goldman, Susan and Morty Goldstein, Larry Levine, Rabbi Yoel Schoenfeld, and our office staff, Judy Gottlieb and Leslie Hornstein, who worked so very hard in putting this dinner together. Thank you once again to everyone for coming tonight. And with Chag HaShavuot only 1 week away, I would like to wish you all a very good Yom Tov and a happy and a healthy holiday.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, members of the families of all those who are being honored here tonight, I see him listed here as Rabbi Emeritus. I was once invited to speak at a particular event where the rabbi had recently retired, and the chairman wanted to show how educated he was and knowledgeable. He said, "It's my pleasure to introduce the Rabbi Emeritus," which sounds like Rabbi Arthritis, you know. Whatever the word emeritus means, it means to be continually serving our people. Now under the leadership of my beloved son, Rabbi Yoel, and his Rebbetzin Perry. I was asked to say a few words to set the tone for the dinner here tonight. The fact is that it's on the same day, as you see, as Yom Yerushalayim. Now we have a rule in Halacha that Ein Me'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. You do not co-mingle simchas. But when the simcha is the same, then you do. It's not two separate simchas, it's one simcha. And that's what we have here today. The anniversary celebration and Yom Yerushalayim. Yom Yerushalayim is a simcha, part of the calendar, like Rosh Chodesh and Chamish Osar B'Shvat. So that simcha is steady. Allah says if one of the simchas is due to the calendar, then the rule of Ein Me'arvin Simcha B'Simcha does not apply. And indeed, it is remarkable and worthy of note that Yom Yerushalayim is the day not only so important for our history, when the shul had chosen to have this dinner. As David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Yerushalayim K'ir shechumo lo yachdav, a city that is put together. Together with what? With Jewish simchas. Yerushalayim consists of the city and the suburbs. How far do the suburbs go? Gemara discusses the city limits, so there's the Mishnah of Yerushalayim. But one word we know is chutzos Yerushalayim, the courtyards of Yerushalayim. And that could be anywhere near Yerushalayim, and it could be in Kew Gardens Hills. I think one of the great accomplishments of our young Israel is its total, complete identification with the state of Israel, Eretz Yisrael. We had the privilege many years ago when Menachem Begin, Zichrono Livracha, came to speak, and before he spoke, we had a very enjoyable dinner at the home of Rabbi and Mrs. Holzer, which Menachem Begin really utilized to tell us about his accomplishments. He got up to speak in shul, and he said, I find myself here tonight, meaning our shul, in the Shagrirut, the embassy of the State of Israel in Queens. And that is who we are. through the embassy of Medinat Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael, and our activities have borne this out. So it is altogether proper that we have tonight's Simcha, the dinner, together with Yom Yerushalayim. Because Yom Yerushalayim is part of the Jewish calendar, with most Jews who love Israel. I wanted to make these comments because these days, Sabuni Gam Sebavuni, we are surrounded by enemies, those who hate us, and those give expression to their hatred of Jews in Israel. So that's the first point I wanted to make. Our total identification with Israel, the state and Eretz Yisrael, B'chal Mokom Shehem. What we have to do to set the tone for tonight's event is to encourage and to foster this love for Israel. And I think that if we count the number of people who made Aliyah throughout the years, you'll find that YIKGH Hills has probably some of the most celebrated and most known members who made Aliyah and continue to making it. I got a call today, this afternoon, by a member, Dr. Richard Lepshinsky in Phoenix, who retired now from the VA hospital. He said, Rabbi, I've got news for you. I'm making Aliyah this November. And that is how we are. And therefore, we welcome here tonight our families come from Israel to be with us at this great moment in the life of our family. The latest arrival being our grandson, Benny Silverman, on a short trip to America, made it in time from Texas to be here tonight. And all of those who've come from Israel, you know, they are, it's the Spirals, it's the family of the large family that come from Israel constantly, children and grandchildren, the Pinchik family, etc., etc., etc. I want to say to you that we are happy and proud, as I'm sure that Ruth will, to be part of a community that strengthens its love for Israel and Yiddishkeit. And it's important to remember that the stronger our belief in our right to Eretz Yisrael based on Jewish history, the stronger we will be. We are happy that so many have come for all the guests of honor, and we have Mr. Tanya Rueda, our custodian, is not well. The halacha is mekablim nidavim me'akum, that a non-Jew can be part of a Jewish celebration. Moshe and Karen Birnbaum, you hear about them later on, as you will hear from Margaret Teeth's Rehabilitation Center, and of course our guest of honor, Chiel and Marilyn Schwartz. I have a feeling I'm leaving somebody out here. I know better than that. Usually you say, Eish is chava kechava. The wife of a chava, which means Talmid Chacham, is like a Talmid Chacham. Today I'm in the reverse role. The wife of a woman, a Chachemes, is called chava. I hate to use the word chavera. These days it's dangerous. So I want to thank all of you for coming and keep strengthening the work that we do in YIKGH Hills. It's a pleasure and a privilege to share this simcha with so many of you. May Hashem Yisborach grant all of you long life, arichas yomim, and to be zoche to really welcome Mashiach Tzidkenu. Amen.
He's not here, but his son-in-law and his granddaughter are sitting right over here. So. Now, about a year ago, there was an article written in one of the Jewish magazines. The title of the article is "The Often Invisible Non-Jews." It's by Dr. Simon Yisrael Feuerman, who grew up in our shul. And this article was very appreciated by me personally because I'm the same age as him and I was in the shul at that time. So I'm just going to read to you the little story that he wrote. It says, "Acknowledging the Gentiles who keep our synagogues running." And he gives two stories, but I'm just going to do our story. "A few weeks ago, I went back to a shul I hadn't visited since I was small. Who would still be there after 40 years, I wondered. Quite a few people, as it happened, but one man in particular stood out. Someone who was a constant in the shul all those years before. Someone I would see all the time as a boy, even though I didn't really see him at all. At the time, I never even knew his name. He was the custodian, and he lived in the shul. As a very short, quiet, unassuming Hispanic man, Mr. Roeda, that I only now found out is his name, might have gone entirely unnoticed except for his dog, a German shepherd he kept chained on the roof, where he barked furiously. I remember coming to the shul for the evening service and seeing the dog at the edge of the roof howling at the sky. And that is one of my earliest memories of the young Israel YIKGH Garden Hills. It was odd to have a German shepherd at a shul where many of the members were survivors. The rabbi himself, a famous Polish refugee, came to London via Vienna on the eve of the war and survived the Blitz before he came to this congregation in Queens. But no one in the shul ever said a thing about the dog or about Mr. Roeda. It was as if they weren't even there. But even after 40 years, I recognized him immediately. He strode upright across the room with a strength that bespoke a man much younger and began setting up the Kiddush. He's 92, someone in the shul told me. The dog is long gone, but he is still cleaning up around here, mopping the floors in the bathroom and in the halls. In winter, he is in front at first light with a snowblower. Concealed in his small frame was a certain will, even an enthusiasm for manual labor, somewhat foreign to my Polish Jewish bones. A memory came back to me when I saw Mr. Roeda, Yom Kippur 40 years ago. This was written a couple of years ago. Almost to the day, October 6, 1973. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun was past its height, and the rabbi in his holy garments abruptly stopped the services. He clapped on the prayer stand. Quote, "There are reports of heavy fighting in the Sinai and in the Golan. There are serious casualties." How had he known? No one could have been listening to the radio or television on the holiest day of the year. It was a large shul, and there was a silence I will never forget for all my life. One had to presume Mr. Roeda had informed the rabbi, and indirectly the whole congregation, that we, quote unquote, had been attacked. He had always been devoted to the rabbi and the shul, and he still is. It got me to thinking about the various people in the shuls that I have been, in the shuls that I have been, custodians and others, many of them not of the tribe, but somehow by virtue of their devotion to their jobs and their synagogues, partially of the faith. He then goes on to the next story, which we're not going to go into, and then he sums up at the end. He says, every synagogue, yeshiva, and Jewish institution has people like Mr. Roeda and Pat, that was from the other story, the janitor, non-Jews who toll in the Jewish world without ever becoming fully part of it. They are often invisible. We see them, but we don't see them, as though we can never imagine them beyond their silent supporting roles. The fact is that they have always been part of our culture. The hewers of wood and the carriers of water going back to the days of the temple. Even if they are not fully part of the Jewish world, neither are they fully separate. As we start a new year, this is before Rosh Hashanah, we start a new year and begin the Torah anew, we might take a new look at those who help us and the debt we owe them, the non-Jews without whom the Jewish world cannot function. So that was the article I thought was very appropriate. We do have a little award, so I'd like to call up Eddie and Kimberly. You have to be very careful, it's very delicate. You got it? So read it.
Before we read it, we just must reiterate that we wish your father-in-law, your grandfather, a speedy recovery. We call it a refuah shalema in Hebrew. And we'll hope to see him back in full shape soon. Presented to Mr. Otonil Roeda for over 40 years of dedicated service to our synagogue. May the memory of your dear wife, Josepha, be a blessing for eternity. Young Israel of Kew Gardens Hills, June 5th, 2016.
I'd like to call upon Rabbi Yoel Schoenfeld now to present to Margaret Tietz.
Those of you who are fortunate to be in our shul yesterday, before Mincha, quite a bit before Mincha, I heard my sister Debbie Spiro, a guide, lecturer for Yad Vashem, give a very spellbinding presentation on what was the title had been Maintaining the Human Dignity and Spirit During the Times of the Holocaust. It was a wonderful presentation to show how that Jewish spirit, that spark was there despite the most difficult and dreadful of times, how the Jews kept their head above water and managed to carry on in life even during those awful times. We have today two honorees, and the first will be Margaret Tietz, as we'll get to now, that expressed that very concept of carrying on with dignity despite the awful challenges of that Nazi era. Margaret Tietz, we know in our community as the Margaret Tietz Nursing Home and Rehabilitation Center, and I know that's the name because I'm reading it off their stationery. The Margaret Tietz Nursing Home and Rehabilitation Center was actually founded by a survivor, by Mrs. Margaret Tietz, who survived the Holocaust, settled first in Newark, and there she decided to devote her talents as a social worker to sing to the social needs of her fellow survivors. And she focused that work in Newark for quite a number of years. As the demographics changed and things moved on and the Jewish community changed, Margaret Tietz eventually found herself relocating and exerting her efforts into the area of Queens. Ultimately, that institution known as the Margaret Tietz Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, which carries her name, is today in, I guess we call it Jamaica and Queens, a walk away from our own neighborhood of Kew Gardens Hills. And it carries with it that same spirit of dedication, not to just its patients, its guests, but to the community in general. If there's something that has to be sponsored, co-sponsored in our neighborhood, if it's an educational seminar, if it's a lecture on something worthwhile, if it's to underwrite a Yom HaShoah program or the Yom HaKadosh HaKlali program, Margaret Tietz is there. And we've developed a special relationship with the staff at Margaret Tietz, and especially with Linda Spiegel, who's sitting here with her husband. And people, I get calls also often, including last Friday, Rabbi, I have to get my mother in, my father, my uncle, and my grandfather in to Margaret Tietz. Is there something you can do? And it's a phone call to Linda Spiegel that gets the ball rolling. And more often than not, the answer is yes. It takes a little doing, a little pushing. It takes some phone calls from Linda, and it takes her getting together with so many of the people that are sitting right here, the staff of Margaret Tietz, that is sure to accommodate us. And so this is that continuing spirit, the human dignity, as outlined by my sister Debbie yesterday, that is so evident in Margaret Tietz to this very day. So it's only proper, befitting, Magia Lahem, they're so deserving of this wonderful honor that they're getting today. And it's my pleasure to be able to offer them this award. I would like to also introduce Mr. Friedman, who is the new, is your title director? Executive director. He's the new boss on staff at Margaret Tietz, and he's also the grandson of Rabbi and Mrs. Sladowski. We welcome the rabbinic staff and all the staff of the admission office that's here as well. It's my pleasure now to present to you this well-deserved community service Stella and Joe Zimmelhofer Award. Joseph and Stella Zimmelhofer Award, Avodas HaKodesh Community Service Award, presented to Margaret Tietz, Center Light Health System, Young Israel of Kew Gardens Hills, June 5, 2016, 28 ER 5776, Lada'as La'asos es Kol Meleches HaKodesh, to know and to do all the work for the labor of the community. Thank you, and this is very well deserved.
David wants to say a few words, and I'll say a couple of words.
So we'll ask David Friedman to say a few words. Snappy. So Linda, well, I'll leave this here
Yeah,
right
hold
now.
on to it. No problem. No problem.
We'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Young Israel of Kew Garden Hills for bestowing upon this very special award, and of course to acknowledge our wonderful staff for all the efforts they've put into to help us receive this award. For those of you who are familiar with Margaret Tietz, and those who are not, we're a 200-bed skilled nursing facility located just a couple of minutes away from Kew Garden Hills. And over the past couple of years, we've expanded our programming and our services to ensure that we have all the programs, services, and amenities in place to service the Frum community. In addition to our relationship with the Young Israel of Kew Garden Hills, we've also enjoyed a very, very special relationship with the Schoenfelds, with Rabbi Fabian Schoenfeld, Rabbi Yoel Schoenfeld. I recall a number of years ago when Rabbi Fabian Schoenfeld joined us at the facility for a particular event and literally left the entire facility spellbound with his recap of describing the Tietz department store in Germany. And everyone walked out of that program completely inspired and touched by his words. Over the last couple of months, we put in numerous new initiatives, quality initiatives in place, new staff to bring the facility to the next level, and we're looking forward to serving the community for many, many, many years in the future. I'd like to hand over the mic to Linda Spiegel, our Director of Public Affairs.
Hi, everybody. This is such a great honor, and I have to tell you, about 14 years ago when we joined with Center Light, the thought was that we should make Margaret Tietz a kosher facility. And it was not always a kosher facility. It was a facility that cared for Holocaust survivors in the inception in 1971. And then little by little, more and more people came, but not so much Jewish, not so much kosher, obviously weren't kosher. At the time, there were meetings that took place, and a lot of it had much to do with Rabbi Fabian Schoenfeld. There were meetings that took place with him to see if we really thought that a kosher facility would do well in this community, if people would support it, if it was something that we really should do. And we had his blessing, his support, Rabbi Yoel's support, and because of the Schoenfeld family, our facility is the success it is. The community really supports us. We appreciate that so much. We've taken our facility to a different level, and there are so many people in this room that have utilized our services, and we're only going up from there. You know, we have David with us now. He's wonderful, and a lot of new ideas. We have our Director of Admissions with us, our Rabbi with us, Sheva Turk, our Associate Administrator. We have Debbie Laskin, our Recreation person, and we even have Rabbi Keen from New York Presby Queens sitting with us today as our guest, who's very wonderful, very wonderful. So we really appreciate the support of the community, and if there's anything we can do for anybody, we are there for you. We're one phone call away. Thank you so much for this beautiful, wonderful award. Thank you.
I'd like to call upon Rabbi Ari Lipsky now to present the Young Leadership Award to Karen and Moshe Birnbaum.
The holiday of Shavuos is right around the corner, and we refer to it as Zman Matan Torasenu. It's a time of the giving of the Torah. And many of the commentaries ask, why do we refer to it as a Zman Matan Torasenu? A time period. It was one day. It should be Yom Matan Torasenu. The Magen Avram answers that there actually is a debate whether the Torah was given on the 6th of Sivan or the 7th of Sivan. Because although everyone agrees it should have been given on the 6th of Sivan, some explain that Moshe Rabbeinu on his own decided to delay because the Jews simply weren't ready yet. And the obvious question is, what right does Moshe Rabbeinu have to change the decree of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to delay an extra day, when he was explicitly told it should be the 6th of Sivan? A very common explanation given is that Moshe Rabbeinu had such a close relationship with Hashem that although literally he was told the 6th of Sivan, his intuition told him that simply could not be true. Hashem would not want to give the Torah to a nation that was not ready to accept it. And it was because of that close relationship that Moshe had with Hashem that he was able on his own to delay and to have it be on the 7th of Sivan. We are privileged tonight to be honoring Moshe and Karen Birnbaum. Being integral parts of the shul for about a decade now, the Birnbaum's relationship with this shul is much like that of Moshe and Hashem. They simply know what the shul wants. They simply know what the shul needs. Karen, very involved with the Women's League, coordinates much of the programming to help inspire, educate, and connect the women of the shul. In addition, she runs the mommy meals, vital in assisting the young women of our community at a time when they need it most. She also devotes her time to arranging the Mishloach Manos program, a true highlight of Purim in our shul. Moshe is an important member of the shul board, plays a vital role in ensuring that our shul runs smoothly and successfully. He devotes his time to late-night meetings after already a long day at work, also involved in the shul's youth committee, and even knows to make sure that every child receives a lollipop every Shabbos. And let's not forget how he uses his IT expertise to help out with any technical issues the shul might have. But beyond any one single accomplishment of Moshe and Karen, which I have only listed a few, their most important characteristics is that they have the pulse of the shul. Several months ago, I was looking for assistance pertaining to the shul website. And I asked around who I should be speaking to assist me in this matter. And everyone told me, speak to Moshe Birnbaum. So I said, oh, he's in charge, he must run the shul website. They said, no, not particularly, he just does everything. The Birnbaums do everything because they have that close relationship with the shul in our community, that intuitive sense of what the shul needs. Not only that, but they do it all without a desire for recognition, and all behind the scenes. So on behalf of the entire shul, we cannot thank them enough for their tireless dedication, and we are thrilled to present the Young Leadership Award to Moshe and Karen Birnbaum.
This is indeed a very beautiful plaque, and I think it's time that we thank Debbie publicly for the awards that will be presented tonight, for getting them, choosing them, and coaching this along. It's an incredible work she's done, just in that regard alone. And so it reads, presented with gratitude to Karen and Moshe Birnbaum, Young Leadership Award, Young Israel YIKGH Gardens Hills Dinner, June 5th, 2006, 1628 ER 5776.
First, I want to start by wishing a mazel tov to all the other honorees, Rebbetzin Schoenfeld, Marion Lynn, and Yechiel Schwartz, Mr. Otniel Ruedo, and Margaret Tietz Rehabilitation Center. What a day it is today. There's Game 2 of the NBA Finals, the Copa America Centenario, the Salute to Israel Day Parade, but most importantly, the 65th Annual YIKGH Dinner. We would like to thank the Young Israel family, along with the rabbis, president, board of directors, dinner committee, and most importantly, all of its members for this award. The Young Israel of YIKGH Gardens Hills has a long and prestigious history, and to be mentioned along with all the historic honorees is truly something special. This award is not just about us, but about all the people who helped us to get here. I've always felt that I was truly blessed in so many ways, but most importantly, in the way that no one could ask for better examples of people than my parents. There's never been a situation that they didn't know how to approach or how to act in. They've always treated people with so much compassion and are so grateful for everything in their lives. I think that my brother and sister would agree that we are so lucky to be raised by such wonderful people. To my in-laws, Michael and Naomi Solomon, thank you very much for obviously having Karen, but the support that you've given me as well. It takes a village to raise 3 beautiful daughters, and with the pace of life that we have, you guys play a significant role. Knowing your views on life will be passed on to my kids as well is definitely something special. So thank you very much. The winningest coach in NFL history and coach of the Miami Dolphins, Don Shula, was quoted as saying, "To be successful, all you have to do is work half days. You can work the first 12 hours or the second 12 hours." Rabbi Yoel, you have always made yourself available to us, whether it was a personal question or just guidance. You have always been there. It doesn't matter what time of day it is, whether it's early in the morning or late at night, you're always reachable. You have always been a supporter of the Young Marrieds Meeting and recognize the role it plays in the shul. Over the last 6+ years, I've had the pleasure of working closely with 2 presidents, Danny Maurer and David Reich. The great Super Bowl winning coach of the Green Bay Packers, Vince Lombardi, once said, "Individual commitment to a group effort, that is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, and a civilization work." I think that this quote characterizes the example that both Danny and David have set. They were always willing to give of their time and were always committed to the shul and its members. They have led by example and have shown us and everyone else how to lead. I can't think of anyone better to share the stage with tonight than Marilyn and YIKGH. I'm not sure we would be standing here today or the Young Marrieds Meeting would be where it is today without the initiative that the Schwartzes took in the formation of the steering committee back in 2009. To our kids, Heidi, Emmy, and Ariana, you drive us crazy and you make us smile. I want to thank my wife, Karen. None of this is possible without you. You've given me the opportunity to go out all the late night meetings and to spend all the time necessary. You've given our 3 daughters an example to look up to as they grow up, and I don't take that for granted. It's definitely special to watch you do what you do every single day. The strength that you have, the patience that you have, whether you have a good day or not, you're the same person every single day. And that means a lot to me, and to be able to come home and share a life with you. So thank you very much.
That concludes the first part. We're going to have dinner now. Enjoy.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin by wishing my grandmother, Rebbetzin Ruth Schoenfeld, a congratulations on her well-deserved and prestigious award, and thank my grandfather, Rabbi Schoenfeld, for the kind words on her behalf. Mazel tov, Grandma. Thank you. I'd like to introduce the entertainment for the evening. We have the treat of having a badchan, somebody who tells jokes. The reason why I'm introducing him is he's a childhood friend of mine. Please don't hold that against him. He's a very funny guy. He writes celebrity roasts. He's worked on a film with Robert De Niro. I'm sure you've all heard of him from Meet the Parents fame. He recently performed for some of the troops in Israel. And he came back here and was able to clear customs with no issue. And he's going to go back there and perform soon again. So without further ado, give your attention to my good friend and a good client of my law firm, Mr. Michael Fine.
I'd like to call upon Debbie Spiro now to make the presentation to Rebbetzin Schoenfeld.
Birshut Avi Mori, Imi Morati, my brother Rav Yoel, Mr. President David Reich, co-chairpersons David Engelger and Debbie Weintraub, honorees, and Achona Chaviva, Mami. The oft-quoted Medrash Tanchuma in Parshat Vayakel tells us, Shlosha Shemot nekru'u lo la'adam. Echad ma shekorim lo aviv ve'imo. Echad ma shekorim lo b'nei adam. Ve'echad ma shekonehu la'atzmo. Tov mekulan ma shekonehu la'atzmo. A person is called by three names. One is the name he is given by his parents. One is the name by which he is commonly called, and one is the name which he acquires for himself. The best of them all is the name which he acquires for himself. As Jonathan and I deliberated over the names of each of our 7 children, we always felt that the name by which we would call them would, to a large degree, predetermine the qualities they would grow up to embody and to represent. Many years ago in faraway Satmar, Bobby and Zadie Leifer, Zechronam Livracha, named you Rachel. As they gazed into your sleepy eyes that very first moment, did they know already then that you were destined to become our very own Mama Rachel? Did they know then that you would always watch out for your sisters and brothers and their children with that tremendous midah of avat chinam that has become the paradigm of Jewish feminine virtue for thousands of years? Did they know then that you would one day become the legendary shepherdess of our family and of the beloved flock known as the Young Israel of Kew Gardens Hills? Did they know then that in the zchut of your endless compassion for all of Am Yisrael and your infinite capacity for loving us, your children, that God himself would hear your constant pleas on our behalf and would call out, Bishvilech Rachel, ani achzir et Yisrael imkoman. For you, Rachel, I will bring all of Am Yisrael back to their rightful place. To the world at large, you are lovingly known as Ruth. Yet another legendary biblical figure, another one of our ancient mothers who stood up so bravely to the numerous challenges and difficult moments of her life. Ruth, whose tremendous love for her dispirited mother-in-law led her to say, Ki el asher telchi elech uba asher telini alin, amech ami, Velokayach Elokai. For wherever you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people are my people, and your God is my God. The living embodiment of chesed and familial loyalty, Ruth clings to her mother-in-law and persists in following her to Beit Lechem. Ruth's innate compassion and endurance are rewarded from above as she eventually becomes the forebearer of David HaMelech and his royal dynasty. When Boaz proclaims his intention to wed Ruth, the whole town of Beit Lechem comes out to share in his joy, jubilantly calling out, Yitein Hashem et isha asher ba'al beitecha kirachel ukleya asher banu shtehem et Beit Yisrael. May Hashem make the woman who is coming into your house like Rachel and like Leah, both of whom built up the house of Israel. Rachel, the younger of the sisters and the birth mother of only 2 of the 12 tribes, is granted precedence over Leah. Rachel is clearly recognized as the Akeret Bayit of Am Yisrael, the number 1 matriarch of our people. The greatest blessing that the townspeople can bestow on Ruth is that she should be like Rachel. How remarkably prophetic. Tonight, all of us gathered here in this room, and many others who could not be here, have come together to unanimously crown you as our Eshet Chayil, a true woman of valor in every sense of that age-old title. This is the name that you, Mami, have acquired for yourself, through your deeds and through your actions. In a community where every single woman is an Eshet Chayil in her own right, we now bestow upon you the honor of being the preeminent woman of valor. Rabot banot asu chayil va'at alit al kulana. You, Mami, have risen above them all. You have lived a life of chesed, of avat chinam, of compassion, of caring for others. You have touched the lives of so many and have indeed been a role model for us all. You have nurtured the poor and the weak, have tended to the frail, have healed the brokenhearted, have rejoiced with the celebrants, have counseled the perplexed, and have sheltered the homeless. But perhaps your greatest triumph of all has been Noda B'Sha'arim Ba'Allah. At such a young age, you assume the responsibility of becoming the Rebbitzin of a community, bereft of their first beloved Rebbitzin, Alaha Shalom. Like Ruth, who followed Naomi to Beit Lechem and inextricably intertwined her life with that of her husband's family, you not only took on the challenges of loving us, your children, but of loving the people of Kew Gardens Hills as well. Exhibiting true grace under pressure, you rose to the occasion with great aplomb. Finding time for everyone, and with so much love in your heart, you embraced this special community, as they in turn embraced you as well. My favorite memories of davening in the shul are of watching the numerous congregants come over to you after davening to heartily wish you a good Shabbos, Rebbitzin. In a 2-minute interchange, you managed to make each and everyone realize how happy you were to see them, to inquire about their ailing parents, their exuberant children, to compliment them, or to wish them a mazal tov, whatever the occasion warranted. You cherished each and every person, and each one had a special place reserved for them in your heart. Your great love for all these people could only be matched by their love for you as well. Kew Gardens Hills has truly flourished as an enclave of Gemilut Chasadim and Avat Yisrael because you have been at the helm. In the stirring words of Boaz to Ruth, Brucha at la Hashem biti, Heitav chastech ha'acharon min harishon, ki odea kol sha'ar ami, ki eshet chayil at. You, Mommy, are truly blessed to Hashem. Each act of your kindness exceeds the one that preceded it. For all those who preside within our gates know that you are an Eshet Chayil.
Wait. I almost get a chance to tell her to wait. Let me explain what this is. This is as you can gather, this is a replica of YIKGH Rachel, a tzedakah box actually, formed in the shape of YIKGH Rachel. And as it reads, presented to Rebbitzin Ruth, Rachel Schoenfeld, Rebbitzin to the Shul, Ein B'Yisrael to all, a true Eshes Chayil. Young Israel, Kew Gardens Hills, Room 4. It is indicative of my mother being Rachel Imenu, and her dedication to all the charitable causes that she's involved with.
I was going to, as everybody kept saying to me, speak from your heart. Speak from your heart. So I didn't make a speech. And then, you can't hear me? Oh. I can't repeat what I just said. I can only say that I wasn't going to make a speech, and I will not make a speech. But what I really want to do is just thank God for everything that He's given to me, for all that He has bestowed upon me. How can I ever thank Him enough? And I want to, first of all, of course, my wonderful husband, my very wonderful, wonderful husband, bis 120 years. He made me his life's partner. Okay? He gave him to me. And then my great kids, my wonderful kids. You all know about my kids. Here's one of them. and my wonderful grandchildren that are here, and even maybe some of my great-grandchildren, and some of my dear, dear friends that are here. But also, last but not least, is this wonderful shul. When I came in when I first came to the shul, I looked around and I thought, hey, these are very nice people, these people. Like, always they honored the good guys. Never the rich guys, always the good guys. That's what I thought that was so special about the shul. And I have to tell you, I love you all. I truly do. I love all my people. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for choosing me to be your YIKGH. Thanks.
Well said, long overdue. Debbie, take this to Daddy, and the photographer.
Come to Daddy.
We're going to continue now with our presentation to our guests of honor. I call upon Rabbi Yoel Schoenfeld to present a gift to Marilyn Yechiel Schwartz.
What? You'll forgive me for a minute. Let me just join the picture. Very hard act to follow, my sister. And if there will be an Orthodox woman rabbi in Young Israel, Kew Gardens Hills, I'll nominate her. I do want to, at this time, thank Hedda Englander for actually having that stroke of genius, of inspiration, of thinking of asking my mother to be honored. When she mentioned it to me and David mentioned it to me, I said, there's no way in the world my mother's going to accept this. So, don't waste your time. They were both down in Florida, and they went to her, they visited her, and they asked her if she'd be honored, and she says, yes, of course. And I called her up, I said, Emma, you said yes? So she said, it's good for the shul, so I said yes. And I want to tell you that that's really true of the other honorees tonight, and it's certainly true of Yechiel and Marilyn. I spoke to Marilyn, and I said, Marilyn, I have to speak to you. I went over to your home, and I was expecting, Marilyn is no pushover, as you may have noticed. And I went to Marilyn, and I'm expecting a feisty little reaction. Rabbi Yoel, get somebody else. You're in the wrong home, the wrong place, the wrong people. We've had our fill. Thank you. And I had everything in my mind all worked up, how I'm going to match wits with Marilyn. But it went a lot easier than I thought. And she gave me the same answer. She said, Rabbi Yoel, this is not for us. We don't do this. We don't like the public light. It's good for the shul, so we're going to do it. And it really deserves an applause. Because we don't get that reaction by too many people over the course of time. It's good for the shul, and it has to be done. David alluded to it before, and it's just so true. Yechiel and Marilyn, continuing on that theme, as we mentioned earlier, on the theme that Debbie focused on yesterday about maintaining dignity during and following the Holocaust, as well represent that very idea. They're both the children of survivors. Yechiel is the children of survivors from Hungarian-born Jews who were able to survive, move on, build a life in Israel. And Yechiel grew up in the hard scrabble roads of Ashkelon in Israel. And there in Israel, he developed skills as a sound expert and gave of his talents to Israeli defense as well. And as fortune would have it, he came to Israel to New York for a family event, the family Simcha. And that's where he had the chance to meet this young lady from the East Side, Upper East Side. Somewhat of a different background, somewhat of a different nature, but someone also who was the children of the survivors, Mr. and Mrs. Herman Smilo, and certainly Mr. Herman Smilo we got to know well over the years. And both of them exemplify the whole idea of Me'ashpos, Yorim, Evyon. We recited the Tehillim of Hallel today. And that's what David HaMelech tells us, Me'ashpos, Yorim, Evyon. It's from the ash heaps that God raises the destitute. And so from these ashpos, from the ashes of the ashes of Auschwitz and the Holocaust, we've seen not only growth, but vigor. And this is exemplified by YIKGH and Marilyn. Marilyn is a dedicated, extremely talented, gifted person who gives of all her talents to our shul in so many different ways. In the Shlachmanis project, and as was mentioned before by Moshe Birnbaum, spearheading that committee that really developed the entire new wing and the new trend within our Young Marrieds group when they put together the steering committee a number of years ago, and that was all done with Marilyn's coaching and coaxing. And of course, Marilyn then heads the Women's League, the Shlachmanis project, and there's so many things behind the scenes that Marilyn does with a full sense of energy, with all her vigor. Going along with Marilyn, of course, is YIKGH. YIKGH, big feisty YIKGH, looks like a lion, but he's a teddy bear. And he's one of the most wonderful people that you really can come across. I guess the best thing we can say about YIKGH is just an all-around good guy. To know him is to like him, is to love him. You feel warm and fuzzy when you're in his presence. You just do. The two of them also have devoted a Sefer Torah to our Chevra Kadisha. It's been unfortunately put to too much use already, but it is such an asset to that very, very, very holy need, the need of bringing a Sefer Torah, transporting a Sefer Torah in its proper Aron HaKodesh to each and every time that unfortunately, lo aleinu, we have a house of Shiva. These are very special people indeed. We appreciate deeply all that the two of you do for the shul. We appreciate the fact that you said yes to our request that you be honored, and you said yes so readily. So it's my honor and privilege to share our simcha with you tonight and to share this together with your wonderful family, your two daughters and your son and their family that you've raised and nurtured. So please, YIKGH and Marilyn, come forward and accept this very well-deserved gift of honor. And it reads, presented with gratitude to YIKGH and Marilyn Schwartz, guests of honor, Young Israel of Kew Gardens Hills Dinner, June 5th, 2016, 28 ER 5776.
Now I know why nobody wants to accept this. We all need waterproof mascara.
I think we need another wall to put there.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin by thanking, in no particular order. You can't hear me? Do you have mic? Okay. I'd like to begin by thanking, in no particular order, Debbie Weintraub, Avi Goldman, Ellie Siegel, David Reich, David Englander, Leslie Hornstein, Judy Gottlieb, Susan Goldstein, Morty Goldstein, and Amora Da'asar, Rabbi Yoel Schoenfeld, for all their efforts and hard work in putting together such a beautiful affair for all of us to enjoy. When it comes to dinners and affairs such as this, everyone is an expert with suggestions and a critic with complaints. So I just want to let you know that I heard through the grapevine the committee is accepting suggestions and criticisms for the future, but only if you consent to being on the planning end of next year's dinner. All kidding aside, an evening like this is no easy feat. Decisions need to be made, such as when should we do it? Where should we do it? What should we serve for the meal? How long should it be? How much should we charge? How do we get people to come? And the big question, who will our honorees be? Well, I have a better question. How do you say no to the rabbi? You see, a young innocent couple moves into a community and tests it out. First, they pick a shul. Then they start going to that shul in the hopes of finding the right fit of friends and Yiddishkeit. YIKGH. They want the right mix of friends, a good rabbi, a nice kiddush now and then, some activities for themselves, and some things that remind them of their home shuls. YIKGH. Then, if they're lucky, the children start coming. So now that young couple needs youth groups, weekend activities, and a school. YIKGH. The young couple is getting a little older now, so they decide to get their feet wet by joining in some shul activities. The wife joins the women's league, and the husband joins a kiddush club. Please note that the woman does the work in both cases. Then lo and behold, they're not so young anymore, and the rabbi says, "How long are you going to be a young married? It's time to move upstairs." Oh my God, they think upstairs? They're not ready for that. But slowly, slowly, one not so young couple at a time starts the upward journey. Now they're in the major league. Then the years fly by quickly. Without realizing it, the once young couple is now making a bar mitzvah and a couple of bat mitzvahs. They participate in one committee or another, whether it's more involved in the Women's League or Yom HaShoah programs, or fixing the loudspeaker system for the next important speaker or lecturer who comes to the shul. They're very happy in this community that they joined so many years ago. Slowly, they move into the in-between group in the shul. They're not young marrieds anymore. Now they're part of the core of the shul. Wow, wherever they go, whomever they meet, the question arises, where do you daven? And the answer is the Young Israel of Kew Gardens Hills, Rabbi Schoenfeld's shul. Oh, nice, the people say, because the people who know that's an impressive kehillah to belong to. And so the couple continues down the road. Some friends move to other neighborhoods for various reasons, but many stay here and participate in the shul and its activities with others who've stayed as well. Children get married and move away, while some continue to stay and put down new roots. These new roots bring in more young married couples who begin the process again. And still the original couples continue to thrive. There are rabbis' classes for women. There are daf yomi and retiree classes. Oh my God, did I just say retiree? What could I be thinking? Without thinking and without actually planning, that couple has become solidly connected to the shul. And so one day, when the rabbi calls and says he needs to talk to you, but he wants to do it in private, you know you're in big trouble. What could it be? What have you done? All these questions run through your mind. It's like being called into the principal's office, something we all try to avoid. So he arrives at your house with an almost insignificant problem, and when that issue is solved, he drops the bomb saying, "The committee would like you to be the guests of honor this year." Talk about being blindsided. Not fair at all. Which brings me back to my initial question. How do you say no to the rabbi? Well, we're still trying to figure that one out because the rabbi doesn't really take no for an answer. He's a really good negotiator. Too bad Obama didn't have him negotiating on his Iran deal. My point is, as a young couple, you don't know what lies ahead and you can't foresee the future. You do what you do for the shul and your community because that's the right thing to do. You join, you participate, you help, because otherwise you're just floating around in a neighborhood by yourself. The shul anchors you to lots of the best people on the planet, And one day, you'll look back on the experience again and say, Ki Tov. As YIKGH and I stand up here today, we are very honored to have been chosen as this year's guests of honor. It was easier to agree to this award once we learned about the company we'd be in. Somebody's calling. It was easier to agree to this award once we learned about the company we'd be in, especially our Rebbetzin Ruth Schoenfeld, whom we love terribly and very, very much, and Eshet Chayil par excellence, and Moshe and Karen Birnbaum, a not-so-young married couple who deserve the Young Leadership Award because of their dedication to the Young Married Minyan and the Women's League. We congratulate them, as well as the Margaret Teitz Rehab Center, the Joseph and Stella Zimmelover Zichronam Livracha Community Service awardees. We'd also like to congratulate Mr. Rueda for receiving the Lifetime Service Award, Felicidades y Gracias por Todo. Before I close, on behalf of YIKGH and myself, I'd like to express our gratitude to the dinner committee for all their hard work. Thank you to all our friends, our children, Alan and Rena, Valerie and Alex, Jennifer and Jeff, and extended family who came from all over to be here and share in this simcha with us. We couldn't have achieved this award without all of you. And thank you very much to Rabbi Fabian Schoenfeld and Rabbi Yoel Schoenfeld for making life in the Young Israel community worthwhile.
You thought I'm not going to say anything. Actually, before I'm going to get to my speech, please allow me to thank the Almighty HaKadosh Baruch Hu that sent me all over the oceans to come to the USA, to New York City, to the Upper East Side, 92nd Y, to the music department, where I met my beautiful wife. Whatever I did over my lifetime in the U.S., I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you very much. Now I'll get to my real speech. Rabbi, still here, Rabbi? Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Fabian Schoenfeld, Rebbetzin Ruth Schoenfeld, Mora de Asra, Rabbi Yoel Schoenfeld, Rebbetzin Peri Schoenfeld, President of the Young Israel, David Reich, members of the dais, fellow honorees, family, friends, and guests. At this time, I would like to thank all those who were on the selection committee. Thanks a lot. I will never forget this evening as long as I live. I would like to congratulate also the dinner committee for a beautiful job, except that comedian, I don't know. I'm very humbled to stand here with the distinguished honorees, especially Rebbetzin Ruth Schoenfeld, who is a dear friend from day one when we moved into the neighborhood. Rabbi and Rebbetzin Schoenfeld made us feel at home. She is the epitome of what Eshes Chayil should be. She is beautiful inside and out. I would like to congratulate Karen and Moshe Birnbaum on their Youth Leadership Award. It is very well deserved. Kudos to Margaret Teitz Rehab Center for receiving the Joseph and Stella Zimmelover Zichronam Livracha Community Service Award, and to Mr. Ruedo, the Lifetime Service Award, for all of you have done for our shul. I would say gracias, but they're not here anymore. So who am I to be on this stage? But I guess this honor came to me and my family so that I should have a chance to say thank you for all the opportunity to live in the most beautiful Jewish neighborhood, with the best Jewish leadership, with the best neighbors, a vibrant community, the best shopping, with more pizza and falafel than I had in Israel. For me, the USA and New York City are a blessing. After all, where could I ride my motorcycle with my friends at YIKGH Riders on Fifth Avenue, celebrate Yom Yerushalayim, as well as the 68th birthday of the State of Israel, and then be part of this beautiful dinner all in the same day? In the rain. I can't believe that almost 40 years have gone by. It feels like we just moved in. It is because of you, and all of you that we felt like home, and therefore the time just flew by. I recall when I walked to shul with my kids, all dressed up beautifully for Shabbos. It was a great pleasure. Later, when Alan and friends started the teen minyan, I remember sitting around with all the kids stuffing Women's League's envelopes when Marilyn was the corresponding secretary. Valerie and Jennifer are part of the Women's League now, working alongside with their mother, who is current Women's League president. The shul was and is the center of our lives. We were able to memorialize our parents for donating a Sefer Torah, like the rabbi mentioned, to the shul's Chevra Kadisha. And that made us feel like we're doing something for the community. Coming to shul every Shabbos, saying hi to our friends. Yes, I know I'm being shushed occasionally, but I think shul is a Beit HaMidrash, and where you should say hi to your friends who do you sit next to. Maybe we should have like a break during davening. I gotta pick this up with Rabbi Yoel and the president. Maybe we can, like, after Shachris or something, we make like 10 minutes of conversation. I don't know. I remember when I ran the Yom HaShoah program in the shul, although it gave me a lot of anxiety, it made me feel good knowing that my father, alav shalom, could look down and see that I turned out to be an okay guy, and not like when I was growing up in Israel as a little shovav or a perchach. So as you can see, the shul is our more derech for my family. Raising children without a shul, the rabbis, and the Jewish education would be much harder. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to say thank you for all those reasons and many more. Marilyn and I raised 3 beautiful children who continue in our ways, and now they are raising the next generation in the same way, with yeshiva education, community involvement, and believing in our Hashem. But we are not done yet. The best is yet to come. I'm trying to retire now, and my dream is that one day move back to our homeland, Israel. Although I came to the U.S. a single man, I want to go back with a lot of family and friends. I know the road is long and hard, but we can hope and dream that one day we will be able to build a third Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim Habnuya, b'mheira b'yameinu. Amen. Thank you all.